Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, welcome. My name's Jamie and I create weekly content to give you a dose of inspiration in your life so you can go out there and take the steps towards the person that you want to be in your life. This week we are talking about one of my all-time favorite topics, something I am so passionate about, and that is self-worth. So this video was supposed to be one video, but it was way too long, so I had to make it a two-part series. In part two, we're going to be digging into the actual tips and little challenges I've set for you so you can go out there and implement them into your life and take those baby steps towards increasing your own self-worth. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for bearing with me. If things seem a little bit out of place or don't flow fully, it's because I've had to go in and rework things and re-record the intros and outros and all the things of being a YouTuber. Okay. In this video, we're going to talk about why self-worth is important, some signs that your self-worth may actually be low, and you better stick around to the end because I'm going to give you some tips and motivation so you can go out there and increase your own self-worth in your life. Let's get into it. All right. You know what time it is. Iced coffee time. I will remember to put my glasses on this time because the sun is not my friend in that room. I don't know what it is, but I really love this little tradition I've created where I make iced coffee for my filming session. To the front room we go. So before we get into it, some of you might be out there and you might not be really clear on what self-worth even is. So what is self-worth? To me, it's all about how much value you put on yourself. It's how you view yourself, how you put yourself out there. It's got nothing to do about how other people view you and has everything to do with how you view yourself, how you value yourself. Now, I really love this definition that I saw on the EUNCW website. I don't know. I'll put it up there. But the quote said, and I'll read it here. I have it. It says, self-worth is the internal sense of being good and worthy of love and belonging to others, from others. Self-worth is often confused with self-esteem, which relies on external factors such as success and achievements to define worth. And it can often be inconsistent, leading to someone struggling with feeling worthy. Based on that definition and my personal definition, you can see that self-worth is something that is really, really important. But you may still be sitting there asking yourself, well, why is that really that big of a deal? You know what I mean? Why is that important? Why should I worry about whether or not I have low self-worth? I truly believe that a strong self-worth is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. It's something that you just can't put a price on, and it gives you the power and the strength to go out there in life and to overcome obstacles and stand on your own 2 feet and have your own back. And I just think that that is so powerful because we all know that life is filled with ups and downs, and when you have this strong sense of self-worth, you are going to be able to get through challenges and obstacles in your life. You are going to be able to lift yourself up and not need external things to fill voids or to encourage and motivate you. You know, you're gonna have this sense of who you are and the value that you have in this world, and it's going to allow you to operate from this space in your life where you have this sense of, I am worthy of taking up space in this world. And I think that that's so powerful in everything that we do. It seriously impacts your entire life. Think about it. If you have low self-worth, you're not going to go and put yourself out there. You're not going to think that you're worthy enough for all the things that you really want deep down. You know, whether it is a romantic relationship, you know, a career, or just a new look. Like, I can't pull that off. It's like being in that constant comparison mode. Like, you aren't good enough to have what someone else has. And I think that that truly, at the end of the day, impacts the decisions that we make. Because if you don't think you're worthy enough for something, you're not going to go after it. And you might go after it, but if you don't have that strong sense of self-worth and you don't have a high value of yourself, you're not going to go after it at the same rate as someone who does have that high self-esteem, high self-worth, high value of self. You're just going to carry the self-doubt and the fear of failure, the fear of what other people think of you, the fear of like, am I good enough? That's just gonna follow you. You're gonna carry that on in everything that you do and everything that you dream of. At the end of the day, it's just such a crappy feeling to feel like you aren't enough for this world, or you don't have enough value for this world, or you're not good enough for this, or you're not good enough for that. It really can lead you down a dark path of negative thoughts and like this state of depression. And so I really am so passionate about this because it's changed my life, and working on this has changed my life. And life threw some really, really hard obstacles at me a few years back, and I had to pick myself up off the ground, literally, and put myself back together and rebuild my sense of self-worth, because I had lost it. I had lost it in a relationship that was not serving me. And I didn't realize it at first how low my self-esteem was. But now looking back, I can tell that it was because of the decisions that I made. I know that if I had a stronger sense of value for myself and self-worth, I would have made different choices. So if you find that the choices that you have made in your life, currently in this state of just continuing to make choices that aren't really serving you, it might be a big sign that your self-worth isn't where it should be in order for you to live the life that you want for yourself. It's one of the things that I feel like I have a value to help others with. I just really think it is so important. I think it impacts our entire life. It shapes who we are. It shapes the decisions that we make, which ultimately shape our entire life and our future. And that is like such a big deal. So how do you know your self-worth is low? Now, I'm sure there are plenty of signs. I'm just gonna list the ones that are personal to me and the ones that I know, so don't come for me. This is just what I know. And I'm gonna read off the list because I don't wanna retake this a million times, and I don't wanna leave any out because you need to know these things. Lack of trust is a big one. You don't think that you're capable of doing things, or you just like constantly living in that fear and doubt. You know, that's a big sign that like you just don't have that trust in yourself. You don't think that you are capable of making decisions. You don't trust your own intuition and your gut. And I think that not being able to trust your own intuition and not being connected to yourself in that way is a real sign that, you know, the value that you feel that you bring isn't there. Maybe you're saying stories like, oh, I'm dumb, I can't make these decisions, or I don't know enough, and like just constantly battering yourself. I think that there's a fine line between just not feeling confident in making certain decisions in certain areas that you aren't knowledgeable, but you and only you alone can tell if you're the one that's constantly beating yourself up or if this is just not your area of expertise. You know, there's a fine line between that. Just constantly just like writing yourself off, like not even going after it because you aren't worthy or deserving, or you're not smart enough, or all these things, versus like knowing that you might need to learn more and, you know, putting yourself out there to do it and to take the steps necessary to make that happen, and just having your own back at the end of the day, just to make that clear, because I feel like a lot of these things can have that fine line between just, you know, I don't know much about this, so I'm gonna get some help, versus like, I don't know anything about this because I'm dumb and I'm not worthy of knowing this. There's a difference, you know what I mean? Living in constant comparison mode, holy crap. Like, I feel like it's been a while since I've done this, and I still catch myself doing it. I think it's such a human thing, but being able to catch yourself doing it and to be able to cultivate environments that don't allow you to like breed this constant comparison mode, I think is so important to do. So whether that is your feeds on social media, do you sit there and scroll for an hour or two, and then after you just feel like crap because you've been sitting there comparing yourself to every single person and telling yourself why you're not as good as them, why you're not as pretty as them, why you're not as smart as them, why you're not all these things. You're just sitting there and you're just, it's going through your head over and over and over. And how often are you doing that? It's just like a constant spiral of always comparing yourself, always tearing yourself down. And we all know that's not healthy. So if you are doing that, I think it's time to clean that up. So watch to the end so you can find some tips that might help you out. Thinking people are better than you, thinking that you don't deserve to have fun, thinking that you aren't worthy of a life that isn't constant struggle. That is a big one for me. Coming from a family that didn't have much growing up, I feel personally that it can be very easy to fall into a trap of, I'm not worthy of this. This isn't supposed to happen to people like me. You know, my parents were always broke and their parents were always broke, so I'm not worthy of money. I feel like our level of self-worth can actually stem from a lot of things that happened in our childhood and growing up, and the examples that we had growing up, and what we've seen and what we've been told. And it's just like, this is just scraping the surface on this, I feel. I think that there are a lot of things that might play a role in why our self-worth can be low, but it's up to us to be aware of it. It's up to us to, make the changes to increase it. So stuff like just thinking you're not worthy enough, or just telling yourself, well, this is how my life is supposed to be. I wasn't meant to have an easy, passion, fun-filled life. Telling yourself these stories, and I'm so big on we get to rewrite our story. So if you haven't checked out some of my other episodes, you might want to check those out. Another big thing is ignoring all the good things about yourself, or downplaying your success and the things that you've achieved, or even just the things that make you a good person in this world. And I feel like that's such a big thing. When someone gives you a compliment and you're like, oh yeah, well, it's just this, it's just that. No, girl, you look good, okay? Own that. It's okay to be like, thanks, I feel great today. Yeah, I really did like how my hair came out today. I think that sometimes people hold back on feeling themselves, so to speak, because sometimes other people will make you feel like, oh, you're so full of yourself. I want to invite you to just switch how that plays out in your head, and allow yourself to step back from that situation and really think am I being full of myself, or is this just this person's projection because they don't feel good about themselves, so they don't want to see someone else feeling good about themselves. They can't comprehend someone else feeling good about themselves because they feel like such crap. So they're gonna be like, oh, that's egotistical. Oh, you're so cocky. Oh, you're so full of yourself. No, you're a person that feels great about themselves, and you're allowed to acknowledge that. And if someone told you different, I'm here to tell you, girl, you own that, okay? Avoiding failure is another big thing on this list. Avoiding things because you're scared to fail, so you're not even putting a foot forward to try, and then you're just living in this fear and doubt of what could happen, and you haven't even tried it yet, and it just keeps you where you are. It keeps you stagnant. And I think fear of avoidance, fear of failure, fear of what other people think of you, it is the number one thing that will keep you where you are for the next forever. So if you want growth and you want progress, you're going to have to be open to failure. You're going to have to be open to, maybe looking like an idiot in front of people, I had to do that when I started this YouTube channel, when I started to put my life out there on social media. It's been a journey, but I've grown so much from it. Constantly being worried what other people think of you. There's always going to be someone out there who isn't happy with how you're living your life, so you might as well do the things that make you happy. All right, though, let's take a break, because you might have found yourself relating to a lot of things that I just listed out. And if you did, it's okay. I definitely did too for a while. But the best thing about self-worth is that we are in control of it. We get to change it. We get to increase it. We get to take power and ownership and do what's best for us. And we're not even gonna go on to the tips yet, because I know that there's some of you still sitting there and you're doubting yourself. You're doubting whether or not you are even worthy to increase your self-worth. And I'm here to tell you that you are. I'm here to tell you that you are beyond worth having a strong, empowered sense of self-worth in your life. And when you do the work to start slowly increasing it and taking those baby steps, it will change your life. It will change everything. And you might lose some people along the way. You might shed a lot of negativity that might be keeping you where you are. But girl, I'm telling you, it is worth it. And so are you. Well, that wraps up part 1 of this series. In part 2, we'll be digging into the tips and little challenges I'll be setting for you so you can go and increase your own self-worth in your life. So definitely stay tuned for that next week. If you've enjoyed this video, hit that like button below or leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you. And I will see you next week with a fresh kind of new episode.